Hello guys and welcome to another edition of Rage Against the Dice. As you can see here, if you've read the title, we're back doing our cheap brush series. Now, these were from Amazon and they were £20. Obviously I've got Amazon Prime, as I've mentioned before to you guys, so the postage was free. If not, I think it's like £2, £3, something like that. We're going to do the same thing we always do. We're going to have a look at the brushes, we're going to check the quality of the bristles, and then we're going to throw a little paint on a model. In this case, it's an Escher model because we have some Necromunda stuff coming up. Now, as I've said in previous videos, some of these brushes have been really, really good, and some of them have been absolutely terrible. But the one thing that is most important about it is finding brushes that work for you. Now, my whole life have used Games Workshop's brushes, and I did up until the last time they re-released brushes, when I didn't particularly like the quality for the price. I've used Army Painter in the past. I used Winsor & Newton's. I've used a lot of different types of brushes, and I like to find like a happy medium where the expense isn't huge, but the quality is good. A lot of times what you'll find is that the quality is good, but they're expensive, or you'll find that the brushes are really good to start with, but because they're cheap, they kind of degrade really, really quickly. Of course, brush care does take a part in that, and I do recommend things like brush soaps and stuff like that to clean your brushes on a regular basis. I mean, you guys have seen I abuse the crap out of mine, especially if you used to follow the live streams that we did on Instagram. However, what I would do is once a month or so, I would go and I would do brush maintenance, and I would clean a lot of them out. So anyway, I'm going to stop babbling now. I'm just going to move and use a couple of Fallout models. As you guys have seen, we've got a lot of Fallout stuff on the channel recently. We're still pretty hyped on it. But yeah, so let's get these open. I haven't opened these at all. All I've done is taken the shrink wrap off, just because it saved a step. So they come in this nice little cardboard tube. I will apologise as well. I'm trying a new set out, and I've got like a new arm thing. Tripod style arm, and it's a bit bouncy. So I need to mess with that and tighten it in the right places. So if the camera jods a little bit, that's why. So straight away it comes in this neat little bag. I can see me repurposing this for one reason or another, because as you guys know, my brushes all just go into the pot of shame. Let's slide them out here. So they do come with a little protective plastic covers on, which you would really expect of most brushes these days. You're only looking at your really, really cheap ones that don't have this. Brushes themselves, as you can see, it comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 in total, and one of the caps has come off. And they have the sizes written on the handles. So you can see there, they're kind of the round paintbrush with the triangular tip for holding purposes, which obviously makes them a lot more comfortable to paint with. As I mentioned, sizes are written on them. You got a good variety in the brushes in terms of the actual types. You've got a couple of the little dry brushes. You've got some very, very small. Look at this. Tiny. I can't use these at all. The really, really tiny ones. And then you've got obviously your more standard brushes. Feel-wise, they do feel quite nice. They're not very cheap at all. But yeah, so give me a second. We'll get a couple of models out, and then we'll check everything out. So here we are, we're back. I've got a number 1 brush, which is probably the one I will use the most, to give you some kind of, that's the length of the brush. I've got my trusty old palette slash absolutely abused a tile, which, as you guys who have been with me a while know, it's the exact same towel that I've always used. Now, you know, again, this is assuming it's the same people who always used to watch, but I don't actually mix with water. I mix with Lamy and medium. However, for these purposes, most of you will probably be mixing with water, so I'm just going to use that. I'm using a little lead belcher. Now my paints, also full disclosure, I usually pre-watered down in the pot so that I can use them straight from the pot. But for this, because I want to set a good example, because I think you should always be mixing your paints and watering them down, I'm just throwing a bit of lead belcher on this auto gun. Now, normally, I would have painted this auto gun black first. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see now the brushes actually move, the bristles move quite nicely actually. Sorry, I'm still getting used to this new arm. And if you hear squeaking in the background, it's just the guinea pigs, they're just saying hello. I moved the guinea pigs to be nearer me so I get to see them and stuff while I'm painting. It's very lame, but I don't care. I'm one of those weird guinea pig guys now. Yeah, so the slight wiggling of the arm does keep making that go out of focus, and I can only apologise about that. I will work on it. As I said, it is the first time I've used the new arm. It was bought so that we could start streaming again, so... Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the rest of this gun, wait for it to dry, and then I'm going to try one of the bigger brushes with a wash over the same gun. In terms of the brush so far, though, I actually kind of like how it moves and feels. It definitely doesn't have... Like, it doesn't move like a Winsor & Newton, that's for sure. But it's better than the Games Workshop ones, if I'm honest, up to now. But yeah, let me go and give this another coat, let it dry, and then we'll throw a wash on there with a bigger brush and see how it works. So, back in a second, guys. So, welcome back. We're using the number 1, which is a much bigger brush. And we're using it, as I said, to null oil this bad boy. Now, this is one of the new recipe null oils, and I just have to say, absolutely hate it. Absolutely despise it. I don't know why it's not as good. Someone smarter will probably be able to let me know in the comments, but it isn't as good. However, these brushes are pretty good. So now what we'll do is, once this is dry, I'll get one of the flat dry brushes and we'll test how the dry brushes go. Back in a second, guys. Right, so now I've gone with this one. It's one of the flat dry brushes. The bristles are slightly stiffer as well, actually, which works really, really well. So I'm just going to get a little on here. As you guys know, I use the back of my hand to take the excess off. It's just a personal preference. And then let's see how these bad boys work. Now, because I paint a lot of skin and things like that, I find a small dry brush to be absolutely essential. Not skin, sorry, fur, because of Skaven. And, you know, Space Wolves, so pelts and things like that. And then Vikings for Baron's War. So, I find that I use small dry brushes quite a lot. This one actually has a nice kind of a feel to it. So I don't know if you guys can catch that. I mean, I don't have to be too neat with this. I'm more testing the brushes and stuff than the actual my painting skill, which isn't that good, because I'm actually going to paint this weapon in some kind of outlandish necromundary colour over the top of that, so the metal will shine through. So I'm just switching over to Rune Fang now, which is one of the lighter GW metals. That's better. have to say, I actually really like these dry brushes. Now, we're in no way sponsored by these or anything like that, so any opinions I say are purely based on what I think of the brush and the aesthetic itself. It's fine. So we've only tested a couple of the brushes here because we don't really need to go through every individual brush to see how they feel. We've tested, you know, a small one, a medium one, and we've tested a dry brush just to see how they feel. And that is important when you're using a brush, because you could use the best brushes in the world, and if they don't feel right in your hands, then they're absolutely not the right brushes for you. But these ones here, as I said, golden maple, miniature's fine, detailed brushes. They're really, really nice. I mean, they've even got on the packet that they're advertised for miniatures painting, for detailed work. What I will do, as I always do, is I'll put the link in the description below so you guys can check them out yourself. But honestly, I actually really, really like these. Now, there is a chance that if you follow me on the live streams when they're starting, which of course is why we've got the new arm thing, so I can try and get that working as intended, you might hear my opinion change, because 2 weeks down the line they may be absolutely battered to crap. And it might be worth me doing a follow-up if that's the case. But as things stand, the bristles feel nice. You get a good amount of them. The presentation on them is really, really good. And the actual feel when you're painting has been nice so far. As I said, that can change. Anybody who's used brushes multiple times will know that how they feel the first time you use them isn't always the same as the third and fourth. As they start to lose bristles or things splay, and only time will tell on them. But at the moment, I really, really like them, and I'm definitely going to give them a go. What I think I am going to do is I am going to keep them in their little silly bag for now, and I'm going to keep them separate, and I'm going to exclusively use these, not the brushes that I'm normally used to, so I can get a good feel for them, and as I said, see how they hold up. As of now, guys, I definitely would recommend them. Now, if you're new to the channel, which a lot of you are, because a lot of you have come from our Baron's War and Bolt Action content, which means, like me, you guys are historical guys, so welcome. You're very much appreciated on the channel. Things we do on the channel here is we cover a lot of indie-style miniatures games. Obviously, we do cover the big ones, Necromunda 40k, Age of Sigmar, etc. But where our passion lies is in the smaller games. I know Warlord's a big company, and they are sort of one of the biggest outside of Games Workshop and stuff, just like Mantic as well. But I still see them as smaller, scrappier underdog companies. And some of you are probably going to say, shut up, the amount of money they make and the licenses they have. But they are. They're smaller. They're not mainstream. If you mention miniature wargaming to most people who aren't in the bubble, they maybe will know they will know Games Workshop, sorry. They will probably know 40k, and they will talk about Henry Cavill. If you mention Mantic Games, TT Combat, Warlord Games, you know, Weird Miniatures, Modiphius are a big one. Like, Modiphius hold the Elder Scroll and Fallout license, and if you mentioned Modiphius to most people, even video gamers who don't wargame, they wouldn't know who you talk about. Atomic Mass, even though Atomic Mass are under fire a bit at the minute because they had the audacity to cancel X-Wing, a game that's like, what, nearly 15 years old that nobody plays anymore. Like, come on, be serious. That range got much more life out of it than it really should have. When you look at people like Night Models and how quickly they binned off the Harry Potter license, and I know they're still doing stuff, but really, are they? I mean, they just had a Kickstarter recently and it looked absolute trash. And I'm a Night Models guy, as you guys know. I've talked about, you know, my love for Batman miniatures game. I used to love the Marvel game. I really wish they'd do something with the DC Universe game, because I really like the mechanics of that. But it's basically been forgotten or abandoned. So yeah, all in, I really like these brushes. We cover a lot of different games. We cover a lot of historical. We cover a lot of small time stuff. So please check us out, which is really where I was going with that before I went on a tangent. Give us a like, a share, and a subscribe. If it's your first time on the channel, let us know what you've thought about it. If there's ways we can improve, absolutely tell us. You know, if it's a comment that I disagree with, obviously I'm going to politely disagree. But if you think, oh, this could be better, or if you're having a problem with this arm thing you've got, maybe try a different one. This one's really good for me. You know, let us know. We are looking at doing live streams again. Now, that will be over on Instagram where it was previously, but there is a chance that we will, you know, save those and throw them up on this channel later. Now, on Instagram, however, obviously it's portrait instead of landscape. So we'll have to come up with a really nice background or something and put that in there, or, you know, work with it. But yeah, guys, we are looking to do some live streaming again. I'm hoping it's not just me. I'm hoping that we can get some other people on there, and, you know, you guys can meet some of the other team in a more personal setting the way you have me. Obviously, you know, Sparks. Although, to be fair, I do keep saying, obviously, and if you know me, guys, but we have had a big influx of new people, so you guys might not know me. If that's the case, feel free to go back and watch some of the older content. Games like Rumble Slam and The Walking Dead All Out War really put our channel on the map in terms of getting us our first kind of 1,000 followers and stuff. Now, we're not a big channel by any means, but I do hope that our content kind of stands for itself, and when you watch it, you go, oh yeah, I can see what these guys are about, and I like what they do. And if that's the case, you know, give us a like, share, and subscribe. But anyway, I hate doing the social media stuff, so I'm going to go now, play with my guinea pigs, get some of these miniatures finished. I've got a couple of T45 Power Armor models on the table that I just want to get done. But thanks very much for watching. Definitely check these brushes out if you've got a spare £20 and you're in the market for some nice feeling flowing brushes. Pray at the dice gods. Hope they smile upon you. Take care of yourselves and each other's. Much appreciated, guys. Take care. Bye.